Welcome to SSI's Security Speaking podcast, brought to you by Security Sales and Integration. Each episode features thought leaders from throughout the professional security channel discussing technology, winning business practices, hot industry trends, and emerging opportunities. We appreciate your interest and encourage you to subscribe to Security Sales and Integration and its newsletters. Regularly visit securitysales.com for the latest news and follow SSI on social media. Thank you. How have you transitioned the customers, the dealers, and all those guys? How have you gotten them through this process and continue to make them feel their connection and relationship to the different, parts of the Bold Group?
Our philosophy through all this, Scott, has been to do no harm. And so we are actively working to ensure that our customers don't see any disruption. And so as we make changes, what the customers have seen and they're going to continue to see is a consistent measured improvement as a result of the integration.
Did you have many customers that crossed over from one software solution to another that maybe were already customers of one of the other?
That is that's a great question, and I don't think I would see that anything en masse where there's been a huge transition. But as we continue to promote our offerings and we show what's best in class for each of the customers, that discussion is being had by a number of customers, and they're viewing because now it's in the whole portfolio of products that we have. They are making decisions that are going to be best for their particular area rather than being just locked into a single product anymore.
I would think especially dealers that have their own monitoring centers and those kinds of companies would be primed for some crossover.
And so there's what's interesting is because we offer more than just the software solutions, we offer whole technology solutions. The dealers and central stations are now starting to see all the different offerings that we have, and they're choosing the parts and pieces that make the most sense for their particular environment.
So with the situation how it is, I know that the Sedona Users Conference was a big thing. I'm not sure what its status was coming into 2020. But what's the picture look like now in terms of user events and customer events and communications and those kinds of things?
Well, as you are aware, a lot of the industry type events have just not happened this year. And as we take a look into 2021, I think that will continue to be, unfortunately, that's going to continue to be what I see as the norm until we actually find a way out of this particular pandemic. So that is definitely changing the way that we are approaching these types of things. And again, we're moving to more online type events, and we are changing the focus. We hope to go back to the norm is what it used to be, but right now we're going to use technology in every way that we can to make sure that we're interacting with our customers and being responsive to our customers. And so that's going to include a number of the conferences that we've done in the past, unless something changes in the near future that will allow us to continue to do those the way that we've done them in the past.
Have you been getting feedback from customers about those kinds of things? What and I'm imagining you have. What are they telling you?
I think one of the interesting things, Scott, that I've gotten is that because so much investment had to be put into work from home, they were a number of customers were glad to see that they weren't traveling to these events because they could take those investments and put them back into their business for the work from home type stuff right now. And so a number of the customers are experiencing the same thing that we are, which is that they're making the very best of technology to continue to run their businesses, as well as they are. I'm hearing of new opportunities that are coming out of this as well on a daily basis.
Do you think that, this mass move to virtualization and remote communications and all that is going to affect, R&D in terms of any of the software and products that are going to come out of Bold Group?
I think as we look at this, Scott, one of the big things that came out of this was the whole work from home side. And the biggest focus I think we will have is helping our customers move into the cloud if they're not already there. That transition has helped so many customers do the work from home process. So as we're helping them manage the software and run their businesses in a remote working environment, we're also focusing on simplicity and ease of use. Because the customers are dispersed, they're working from home, a lot of them as well. And again, one of the big changes that we will be doing is that we used to do a lot of face-to-face meetings. And that's all now changed to we have to limit travel, and we're just going to continue to use video conferencing to leverage our interaction as much as possible.
Well, and a lot of the centrals have had to have their operators, working remotely. So I would imagine that potentially has ramifications for software that enables that.
Which is exactly my point with moving to the cloud, since so much of the security and everything is already built into these frameworks. It's just much easier for the companies that have made some transitions to these types of formats with a lot of their operations to continue to operate efficiently in this particular type of environment.
What about the business itself and the effects of the pandemic? Do you feel like you're going to hit your growth objectives for this year, or are things kind of flattening out, or how's that wave riding for you?
I can tell you that in the March-April timeframe, everybody was focused on getting people working from home. That's where things are at. However, now that we've moved in past that June, moving into July, people have learned to operate within the pandemic, and as well as I said previously, they are learning to generate new business out of this and seeing it as an opportunity rather than a disadvantage. And because of that, that's driving our business forward as well.
Well, like you said, the format, this has really driven some operational changes for us where we've been communicating better. There's been better process just because you have to in this environment. And I think that's gone down to our customers as well, and helping them, work through this work from home situation has really helped our business grow even during this time. So it's been a really positive, moment for us as a company. And I think just dropping some of the change and some of the best practices internally have really changed the company or taken the company in a new direction.
So back to a little bit of the R&D stuff. So Travis, what is the process for innovation within your organization, and how do you balance innovation with what customers may or may not want, and what's the vetting process like?
Having Bold Group being made up of four, highly innovative companies as they were standing separately, bringing those together, we realize that R&D has to be a key initiative, and we're actually putting more of a formal effort on that and a budget tied directly to that later this year. But to answer, the second piece of that question, really around what we're doing today and balancing that with the customers and what they need and what they want, et cetera, really comes along with doing the market research to understand the customers. We employ a steering committee. That's a group of customers that meet to provide the feedback and input on our products. it gives us access to them specifically. We can use them as a beta tester, gain the feedback. We have that relationship to gain the feedback and use it necessary to kind of help refine the products and what we're building, get those products and features further along the right path if maybe we misstepped. When it comes to more of the innovation, though, it really is driven and incubated by leadership. Strong leadership that is creating a healthy environment to cater to that innovation. That what I mean by that is more specifically around like the culture and workspace. We're investing in the time to make sure that innovation can happen. An example of that today would be we actually dedicate a period of our time at the end of each quarter specifically to the developers and allow them to focus on an R&D aspect. It's protected time for them to think, be creative, and generate those ideas that are how companies move forward and push forward and break through different areas. The last piece that I do want to share is the culmination of how bringing process together and more specifically around our agile framework, how that's kind of continuing to promote innovation throughout our sprints. It's creating the drive to push the envelope for our software, new technologies, more efficient processes, training and certifications, whether that's MCSD, Microsoft certifications, et cetera. But it's also a collaboration of all of those touching points and or pieces within our company and the customer that brings that innovation tied to R&D to life. Over the past 6 months, it's been exciting to really see the transformation of our development processes while touching and hitting all those surrounding departments, converging on a very combined and strategic strategy around product and customer success. So it's really starting to feel like a single cohesive operating entity, and that's really where we want to be. So I think in general, that's kind of the R&D landscape and how we are more so driving R&D / innovation from what we're doing at a leadership level, combining all these companies together, unifying processes, and naturally or organically creating that innovative atmosphere.
Let's talk a little bit about cybersecurity. Obviously, is top of mind for a lot of folks. What are some of the practices that can make customers feel good about that with Bold? Cyber is both on, if you analyze it from like a DevOps strategy, it's obviously both on the technology side, the IT side, as well as what we're doing in the software and how we push product. We developed the software kind of really following OWASP methodology. So further going into the stabilization or cyber security and hardening of those products, we're doing pen testing. It's done internally as well as external outside of our company. We've implemented numerous security countermeasures in our cloud environments. We're working to implement various multi-factor authentication across really all of our products. But it's also, from a DevOps strategy, pinging back and circling around to that, cybersecurity is embedded directly into that. It's inside our DevOps products and processes. We're utilizing the tool chains and additional add-on pieces from us being a Microsoft partner, that we're bringing those innovations to the table that help with the entire DevOps lifecycle and or software development lifecycle. Going a step further, we also have a suite of security intelligence product offerings. These products are really providing cybersecurity services to small and medium-sized businesses through whether it's the Network Navigator or from a large and enterprise focus using the Backstage Manager platform. Additional services that we're offering to help with cybersecurity, not only for ourselves but for our customers, is our vCISO, vCISO services. Those help include quarterly network vulnerability scannings, managed firewall services, and reports directly to the customers. So that's another cool area of Bold Group in itself. But
each one of those services really help protect our customers from threats today. I mean, you're talking real-time monitoring, regular assessments. The security intelligence customers are getting proactive alerts around threats within their network. The customers' ecosystems, as they change, our assessments from those services and products are providing the recommendations to further secure and how to secure their environments and make them really aware of holes that they would have never even knew existed. That it's that proactive approach for our customers that's going to help minimize any damage from an attack. Most likely help kind of avoid them altogether if it's done right and our services provide what we need, right? But very similar to an alarm system for a building. We're monitoring the cybersecurity of their environments, and we're going to dispatch help at the first detection of trouble. That suite of products is a very interesting offering, and I think personally a very effective offering.
Is that something that they could potentially extend to some of their customers, especially if they have enterprise customers or something like that, depending on the type of dealer integrator the customer for you is? Can they turn around and package some of that and maybe sell it to their customers?
Yeah, the simple answer is yes. Right now, it's a very understated product for us. We've marketed it to a certain extent, but we have in my mind, it's a very powerful offering, and it's part of it is just getting the word out that because of, again, bringing all these companies together, it's just one more offering that we can give our customer base that it's holistic in nature. Again, we're not only just talking about the financial and the alarm side, but now we can also help protect you on the cybersecurity side through these other offerings. It's just a natural progression of everything else that we offer.
And sort of in that vein is just managed services in general. So, in terms of managed access or hosted video and that kind of thing. So, how do you feel about those technologies and some of the other ones I listed? And what impact do they have on Bold specifically? That good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really the disruptive technologies. It's. I'll just say that this is Travis. The more innovative that technology gets, there becomes more to monitor. In this space with the 5G, with the IoT, that's a very specific target of clearing up that statement. That's going to bring a whole new plethora of things to monitor. We are preparing for a monitored future, to put it simple. It's going to come down to scalability, obviously, keeping things secure in an ever widening world of various surface attacks. Different ways for intrusions to happen and or things to monitor, right? So there's always going to be new ways of doing that security, new ways to use technology, scale up, scale down, depending on the needs at any one given point in time. It's going to drive new products, clearly. So from it's a business model compared to the past where things were much more consistent. It's these temporary services will drive a model going forward. I'd say the biggest disruptive technologies are the IoT things, IoT devices, thermostats, doorbells, cameras, water sensors, all of those new fun things to monitor and play with. They're not just to play with anymore, right? They're becoming a very viable monitoring service and things that truly need proactive engagement with and threat detection with. So the technologies around 5G and AI, that's bringing a whole new level of value, immense value to the industry, and primarily around the form of preemptive threat detection. So it's not just all on the alarm side either. I mean, when you're talking also on the financial side, you're gaining different elements and different ways to visualize your data, find deficiencies, using AI and so forth. So there's a lot of exciting pieces to that puzzle as well that we want to build out. But at the end of the day, it's really, us, Bold Group, we really want to become an industry leader when it comes to using technology and ultimately where it makes sense. So following any seasonality of needs is where we want to focus.
Well, the only thing I would add is that we have the ability basically to monitor anything, and now as we have these new technologies that come out, what will be interesting is how the dealers, the installers, come up with new creative ways to generate business with these technologies, and then feed that back into a monitoring platform, and then ultimately build for it. It's because of the full suite of things that we have, there's many exciting opportunities that can be generated, but people on that side are going to have to be very creative as well. We're here to help facilitate that, but I'm interested to hear back from the installer base on some of the new creative things that they're doing.
So, you know, if I'm a dealer, and this is a question you've seen on here, but are there just a few, operational tips that you might throw out there that we could get out through this interview? You got any words of wisdom for the dealer audience operationally?
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, too, that we've thought about during this period of, COVID-19 and trying to up our operational game, and then providing, tips and services and consulting services to our customer base out there. But I mean, really, it comes back to the basics where, during times where you're struggling or things seem tough, best practices kind of fall by the wayside. But, people management, accounting, basic process within the business, focusing on that so that you continue to be successful. That's something we're really trying to help our customers with as we're implementing the software, having those conversations with them where we're helping them look at the software, look at how they can use it best for their business, how they can help their business thrive even more. So that's some of the things, and then we talked about it before, but just those integration points where make it easier for customers to pay, get web portals that link in with the rest of the software, equip technicians with apps and other ways to communicate more efficiently with the office. Use software that's built for the industry. I mean, like you said, we are, a very specific, we serve a very specific market, and we're really good at it. And we have those integrations that pull, the central station and the dealer and the apps and everything together, and it all talks to each other, and it makes life for those folks so much easier if data is updated across the board, as they're entering it into one point of entry. So those are a few of the, ideas and thoughts that we kind of continue to communicate to our customer base.
And I would add to that, and I think you kind of hit that on seek efficiency, but measure everything.
Yeah.
And if you haven't found a way to measure it, keep trying.
Right.
Because if you measure something, you can improve it.
Mm-hmm. Is there any one or two areas that you commonly see dealers sort of really struggling in? Whether it's tracking their leads or developing an RMR stream or whatever it may be.
One area that I experienced, as an end user of Sedona was really just knowing your customer base and knowing how to communicate to them. I think sometimes dealers are don't want to upset the apple cart, but you really have to communicate with your customers and figure out what they need and what makes them successful. And I think that'll help in the long term, build a stronger business for yourself and a stronger base. But yeah, I think, again, just bringing that operational efficiency together, like Matt said, measure everything that you can, use our software, use other tools that will allow you to do that efficiently and give you dashboards. All that is going to drive efficiency and ultimately make you successful.
To add on to a few real world examples that help, our software solutions better the lives, of our customers, of the dealers, and ultimately improvement tips around those. So, one of the big things is automating processes and workflow. I think the biggest factor that some of our software solutions bring to the table is just that. It's when they have, disparate systems, that leads to errors. When they have processes that more than one employee or person owns, and it's a manual, redundant thing to do, throwing in the word automation and helping automate those processes really just removes those issues. It's destroying those potentials for errors, for data entry leaks, et cetera. So one thing I would recommend is to help drive our customers, to help them understand how they can automate and improve some of that workflow. Another area is really how customers are paying. There's a lot of ways that on the accounting and financial solution side, they're collecting payments in an old school way, to getting slow response to payments. And we have web portals, and we have the ability to take payments instantly, create auto payments. So there's a lot of value to understanding the needs there and ensuring that those companies are using the tools that we provide to help ease their collections and their AR side of the business. Another area is equipping technicians with apps. There's a lot of people still doing paper and pencil, so we have apps that really can help ease their day-to-day processes and so forth. So I think there's a lot of various improvement tips that we could go on and on with, but I think that probably helps cater a few there.
Yeah, good stuff. Streamlining and maximizing those efficiencies. That's great stuff. That's gold,
you touch base on the RMR, right? I mean those RMR, the reporting that we have, or the widgets and quick little KPIs to ensure that you're seeing the number at a glance. It's making sense. Preliminary reports telling you what you're about to bill, who you're billing. You can find any odds and ends that need cleaned up. Those are all great little pieces of our software that help promote that and shore up any concerns with what's about to be billed, or on the alarm side, what's going on there as well.
So I think I also wanted to ask, in terms of like brands of product names and things like that, is how much of that's going to stay the same or change?
So that's a great question too, and I think that one, things will change as time goes on. Things always change, right? That's just the nature. If you're not changing, well, there's all sorts of things that go with it. But right now, we're all doing business as Gold Group, and there has been some changes. So as we look at some of our new product lines, the new product that came out, we've kept some of the old and we've introduced some of the new. So it's called Sedona X on our financial side, and that's a new product that we're working on right now, and that we'll be releasing parts of next year. But yeah, things, and isn't that the great opportunity here we have as well? Is that as this group continues to grow, and as we continue to optimize and change, other things may change as well.